at this moment, when I look at what's happening in the world today, we're looking at wars, we're looking at immigration crisis, we're looking at cultural assimilation problems. We're looking at pretty much every narrative that the world has about itself to go, and perform its business being broken down. And we don't have sight of what the new order is going to be. It's a liminal small space in transition, and around this space is where US is. But when you look at US today, and George Packer, for those of you who follow him, wrote a seminal book which influenced my thinking around America. And this is not now, this was early 2010s. He wrote a great book called The Unwinding. I think a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe leading up to the last election, he wrote another book called The Four Americas. Or it was not a book, but a long form essay. And what I realized, and he talks about how America itself is going through a crisis of identity, and everything that you see in the cultural sphere, in the political sphere, is an outcome of a deeper fissure. And you can trace it all the way back to 1000 AD when the Dark Ages began, and the exchange of gods that happened in Enlightenment. But circa 2025, America is going through a transition from being extraordinarily self-confident, a nation that has built its entire identity on setting audacious goals, going after that, and having that feedback loop of success. Great ambitions, great marketing, great talent, great innovation. And I think it's a great story, much for India also to learn. But when, just as people have psyches, nations also have psyches. Swami Vivekananda mentioned this, nations also have karmas. And when a nation goes through a transition from actually being self-confident, bordering on hubris, where you felt that all you needed to do was export your DNA to the rest of the world, to what they are experiencing today for the first time in America's history is envy, is insecurity, is jealousy. This is a psyche transformation that US is very, very ill-equipped to deal with. And this will spawn out in many ways, and it will look for a narrative that can absolve itself of its shame and guilt. It does not have a spiritual, metaphysical core, it is breaking up. And this now gets an easy target in Hindus because Hindus are successful, Hindus are non demanding, Hindus are not consolidated, Hindus do not have political representation, Hindus do not even have a political ambition, so to speak, which is prominent. And contrast that with our civilizational enemies, and you would see how well concerted and how well organized they are. Regardless of their national might, they punch far above their weight in international arena. A lot of it is, of course, geographical accident. A lot of it is also because India is rising. And back, all of this is in the spirit of, and Hindu civilization has seen greater dangers, and we will always endure. But we will endure when we pick it up. It's not going to be an automatic choice. And that ownership begins with wonder. What does it really take for a civilization to preserve what it considered to be of value for thousands of years? There is a whole knowledge architecture to it. There's a whole transmission architecture to it. There's a whole institutional architecture to it. But fundamentally, there is a spiritual and courageous architecture to it.